Hi everyone!
Hello! Yes, it's true, we're back again.
Yes.
And in our ongoing little series here today, what are we going to talk about?
The topic for today is how to eat consciously.
Mm-hmm.
So the food that you're actually putting in your self and feeding your body with, are you thinking of what it is actually that you're feeding yourself with?
Yeah, exactly.
And I think this is like super important because in order for us to function as human beings, we have to have nutrition and energy in ourselves, and the food that we actually is bringing into our bodies actually makes a difference. So that's why we thought that in this little series that we call Our Own Conscious Way, right? That just how to eat in a conscious way was fits really perfectly with just how we live our lives.
Mm-hmm. So what was the first one? We have a little fusklapp, as we say in Swedish. Notes written down.
Yeah, so the first thing here is eco-friendly food and organic food.
We several years ago it was still kind of hard to find eco-friendly food, and those products were a lot more expensive, and in the beginning it was only specific stores that had it. Today it's a lot easier to find, which shows that the more people that are thinking and caring about these things, the more common it becomes, and it's actually a selling point these days. And the same with the that's the eco-friendly food part. And also, what else did we have? Was it like locally grown and produced food is also more and more like common these days to find. I mean, it sounds like it should be pretty obvious, that if you go into a store, let's say here in New York or here in Stockholm or wherever, that the food you buy is mostly from the area or at the same city, state, or even country. But as more and more people are getting aware of these days, is that it's actually usually the other way around. It's from all over the globe, like from all kinds of places, right? Yeah.
And we have to really think of if I buy meat that's like been produced in China and been shipped all over the world, like what also not only what am I putting in my body, but what is the impact and the environmental impact of having these goods being shipped back and forth. So it's not only impacting me as a person what I put in, but it's actually impacting the whole globe, and with pollution and everything, because we're shipping so much stuff. So if you can buy food that are produced locally close by, if they have a farmer's market or so on, then it's better to do that. And I think the more we can actually start to think of this, the more the demand will get. So I think it's really important to think of that.
Yeah, and I've even read that, I think I mentioned in a previous video or live broadcast we did, that I heard that, like, for instance, in Sweden, when they got fish, they send it to China on these airplanes, and then they pick the bones there, and then they repackage them, send them back to Sweden, and sell them in Europe or wherever in Sweden, which is, to me, sounds just totally crazy. It's like insane to ship food back and forth across the globe. And just to get it bone. And yeah, what else?
So maybe we should talk about why you should like eat organic food, and eco-friendly food.
Yeah, I think a lot of times it's. I mean, you have to think of the nutritions and the vitamins and the things. You can feel that when you eat some food, like fast food and stuff. You get full for like maybe half an hour, and then after a while you're hungry again. Right?
Yeah. And it's also to think of what kind of chemicals have, like with vegetables, like what kind of chemicals have they put on the plants in order for it to grow. And of course, if you put chemicals over something, and then the vegetable will grow, then of course something will impact that vegetable. So just by thinking mindfully of what kind of food that you're putting in yourself is really, really important.
Yep.
And it actually also gives you more energy, and so on. And I actually, some vegetables that I'm allergic to, I can actually eat eco-friendly, and I'm not allergic to them. So I think sometimes it's more of the chemicals that I'm allergic to than the actual beet or vegetable. So
yeah, and also I think it was when we were in Bali, you could eat some whatever, was it avocados or something? But no, whatever it was. But you could never eat. It didn't matter if it was eco-friendly or whatever it was in Sweden. So we figured that it has to do something with the ground, where it grows, and that it's probably so polluted here compared to there. We don't know, but anyway,
just be mindful of what you put into yourself.
Exactly, that's what we've been trying to say in these other videos, that you don't have to be a fanatic about it unless you want to, but you can, it's good to think about stuff like what are you putting into your body, into your system, and what can you do to sort of help the planet as well.
Yeah.
Did we have anything else in our little fusklapp?
Yeah.
Our notes.
The things with the holiday resorts and the food there.
Yeah, you can talk about that.
So I have a hair client that actually has done a lot of research. She's a journalist. And she's done a lot of work to do with all these all-inclusive resorts and what environmental impact they actually have. And something that people don't really think of when they go to these all-inclusive resorts is that you go there, you get your food, you have your beautiful holiday, and like 80% of the food that they have there is shipped into that place, made there. And you can then think of how is this impacting the people that are living in the village close to the hotel. The hotels are not buying locally food and actually giving money to the village. They're actually taking it away from them, and it's not good to always stand behind these big corporations that are actually stealing from the little people.
Yeah, it should of course be better if these resorts bought the food from wherever the resort is. Let's say it's in India or whatever, or in let's say India somewhere, and then they should probably get the food from that country, right? Or preferably from the area where the resort is. But if everything is just flown in from all across the globe, then we get that same thing again. It's food being flown back and forth, and it's no good at all.
No.
So maybe it's a good thing to think about, having in the back of your head that when you're out traveling, that maybe you should try and get out leave the hotel and go and eat at local restaurants. And I mean, like when we've been in Bali, I remember we had some Balinese friends, and we asked them where they were going. We were going to go and have lunch, and we asked them, so where are you guys going? They were like, well, you don't want to go to that place. And we were like, yes, of course we want. So we ended up sitting having lunch at this small little warung, as it's called, a small restaurant. And it was just Balinese and us.
Yeah.
And everybody thought it was really exotic that we were sitting there and eating with them. But of course you can't get sick from eating. But yeah, I mean, you have to think. That's also, I mean, maybe you shouldn't eat a salad or something in that restaurant to make sure that it's cooked food. But still, you know, it was a really nice experience, you know, to have. And it's, and also we love going to these, there's like these raw food restaurants in Ubud where they grow the food next to the restaurant. So talk about being locally produced. It's just out there right next to where you're sitting. That's where they grow the food, and then they serve it.
Yeah,
and you can really taste and feel the nutritions and everything in it. So
and we have a dream that one day when we live in a house that we can start to grow our own food even more. Now we only have a lot of, during the summer, a lot of chilies and some herbs on the balcony.
Well, we're trying to get some. I mean, I heard we haven't tried yet, but apparently you can grow potatoes in a bucket, but we haven't tried it yet.
We should do that
this summer. Yeah, we're just trying. I mean, it's fun to do it as well.
Yeah,
and now I got some through a friend of mine. Since we love chili, I love chilies anyway. We got some Carolina Reaper, which is supposed to be the hottest chili in the world. So we're gonna try and grow that. It's about time now to start working on it. Yeah,
I'm a bit scared. I don't know what he's nuts when it comes to the strong stuff.
Hot stuff. Okay, what else?
Well, something that I do want to share is that a few years back, I think is it 4 or 5 years ago, I started to, every time that I felt the smell of meat, red meat, I started to feel like yucky and nauseous, and I just wanted to puke. And I really listened to myself and within myself to see like, why am I feeling this? And automatically I felt that I shouldn't eat red meat. That was just the automatic inside reaction to my body. And I was hesitant at the beginning, and because I was a vegetarian when I was like 18, but I wasn't a good vegetarian, so I became really, really sick at that point. But this time I felt that, okay, if I feel nauseous, feel like sensing the smell of red meat, then I shouldn't have it. So it just consciously I felt that, okay, I should stop. And it's many years now since I haven't had any red meat, and I feel the difference in my body, really. I've decided to still eat chicken and fish. And seafood, but it's more and more vegetarian food as well.
And as much as possible.
Yeah,
I would say that as much.
Yeah, and when I started, you just followed along. It became like this really, how we just, I think we kind of impacted each other. And it hasn't been like many people that are vegetarians or vegans and so on have this really like, this is why I'm doing it. I'm doing it because I felt that my body didn't need it anymore, and that was really important. And also the environmental impact that the meat industry has. And I think that if you decide to eat meat, maybe you don't have to eat it every time, like all of your meals. Maybe you could consciously choose something else. But something that I do want to talk about is also that people think that being a vegetarian is a better eco-friendly choice. But something that people maybe are not talking about is the soya production in the world, how that is actually they are harvesting a lot of rainforests and starting to grow these, so that they're pushing a lot of animals out of their natural habitats, and that's not good either. So I think you have to think consciously about to choose the choices that you make and how that's just going to impact the world. And I think you really have to listen, like, is this really good for me? How do I feel inside of my body? And when you are full, are you really full in your body, or are you eating just because of a habit? And really try to listen within and see what feels good for you, because I think that's super, super important. And not try to like force something to eat too much or too little. Just
I was just going to say that it's really important to remember that to get all the vitamins and nutritions and everything that you need for your body to stay healthy, and that's also, of course, very important. And there you can, a lot of times you can actually feel that when you've eaten something that like I mentioned earlier, that you might feel full for the moment, but did it actually give you any like real true nutrition or vitamins, or the stuff that your body really needs? And it's always better, of course, I think anyway, to get a varied diet anyway, and also to get as much vitamins and stuff from food and not from pills, vitamin pills and stuff like that. I mean, if you need that, then I guess, you have to look up if they are good for you or not. But I tend to have a feeling of that, it feels better to get it from food that you're eating. And yeah. Okay. Anything else that we have here on a Fusk Club?
Or Fusk Club. No.
Yes, we did have something else.
No, it wasn't. We have talked about. Should I?
No, we haven't, because now I'm telling you what we haven't talked. We haven't talked about you stopped eating sugar.
Oh yeah.
So there is one thing that you forgot to mention.
Oh, okay.
You can start this one.
Hello,
but can you say that?
My name is Anne-Marie. I'm a sugar addict. Yes, this is true. I'm a sugar junkie, and it's been really bad. Like, I mean, really, really horrible. I think to the point that I ate more sugar than actual food, and maybe 98% of my diet actually contained sugar. Mm-hmm. And I can say that it was not easy. It was not easy to actually admit why I was eating so much sugar. And for me, it was a way of pushing away feelings, and it was a way of pushing away energies from other people. And I was addicted to the highs. So I kept on eating sugar a lot. And I could eat, like in Sweden, we have, is it called picken? What's it called in English?
I don't know, but you can go pick your own candy.
Yeah.
You grab a bag and then you pick candy and then you pay for the weight of it.
And I could eat like this big candy bag per day. and it was horrible. And I did it in secret, and I was really, really good at hiding it. And I could get up in the middle of the night, like almost sleepwalking, eating a bunch of candy, and then just go to sleep again. And
sometimes I asked you if you had any sugar or any candy, and you said no, I don't have any candy. And then later on, maybe she asked me for, could you get my phone from my purse? And I would go there and I'd put my hand in, and for sure there's a big bag of candy in there. And I'm like, but you said that you didn't buy candy, and you were like lying to yourself.
Yeah.
So anyway, all of this escalated to a point where you have to take care of it, right?
Yeah, and it was, is it 6 years ago?
At least,
yeah. Where I actually decided that, okay, we were at the airport going to Indonesia, and I decided this is my last piece of candy, because the things that I was addicted to, you couldn't buy in Indonesia. So it was like a good plan to, okay, stop. Okay.
And we were going to be there for 2 months.
Yeah, and I knew that I could have like fruits and other things instead. And then it was okay while we were there, because for me it become like a habit. So when you walk in the grocery store and you buy food, you just buy all of this stuff for when you go from your office, and I need that because that's it. It's more of a habit with your addiction.
Mm-hmm.
So I was fine while we were out the world traveling, but coming back to Sweden and seeing 7-Elevens and Pressbyrån and all these places where I could have the candy and the sugar that I was craving.
And they're really evil in food stores, because they make sure to put all the candy by the cashiers where you go and pay for all the food. So you have to go past the candy to get out of the store and pay for your food.
Yeah, and I can literally say that it took me 8 months from getting rid of the cravings of the sugar. And the most like profound things I actually realized was that how it actually, what the impact it had on my body, because I don't even remember that I had a hunger feeling before, because I was eating so much sugar, and I didn't remember any of I just noticed that I got angry, then I had to have something to eat. Like that was what I knew, that now it was time to actually feed myself with some kind of food. But it actually took me 8 months to get rid of the cravings, and the impact it actually had on me is that all of a sudden how my brain worked changes. For many years I actually thought I wasn't that smart. I was really stupid, because I barely could read books, because I was just reading the sentence and I didn't remember what I was reading, and I just kept on reading and I didn't understand what I was reading. And after my sugar addiction went away, I actually could read 300 pages and I could remember what I was reading.
You could concentrate more.
Yeah,
I remember. Yeah.
And I actually, like a year later, I tried to have sugar, and I could actually feel my heart going.
Mm-hmm.
And I can feel if I'm at a restaurant and they have had a piece of sugar inside of when they're cooking the food, I can actually feel that. And I've had a few relapses from my sugar addiction. So I've had some candy sometimes, but today I know what energy that triggers my addiction. When there's a certain energy that I come towards, then I need to push that away, and if there's like candy close by, then I will grab it and so on. But I think that coming so far that actually admitting that you have an issue, realizing that it's not healthy, and then actually then discover, okay, what is the thing behind the addiction that's actually causing it. And I've read studies from people that have actually stopped eating sugar, and they say it can be worse than stopping using heroin to actually get rid of the addiction. And I find it really funny. For a while there was this commercial for Systembolaget in Sweden, that's where we go and buy alcohol, and it was a commercial where a bunch of people were sitting with cookies. That was instead of alcohol, and they say, but you can have one more, please have
just
one
have
more.
A cookie.
Yeah, just
to
have
show
a cookie.
how screwed up the whole alcohol, the culture around it, but how people behave. And well, you can just have another cookie, you might as well be that. But
but people are actually like that with sugar towards me.
Mm-hmm.
And I find it really, it's like some people say, oh, I'm so sorry, but we don't have anything for you, Anne-Marie. And I'm like, this is my conscious choice of
Mm-hmm.
stopping. I knew I had an addiction, and it's not, you don't have to be sorry for me, because I've actually realized, and I made this choice to say no. But it's really interesting how socially accepted sugar that can actually be so bad for you is. So
what we're talking, I have to also, I guess we have to mention that it's usually refined sugar, the white sugar.
Yeah, I still have I still eat like fruits and berries and so on, but it's the white sugar that I don't eat.
And I've never really been like a big like candy, like eating a lot of.
You never understood my
no, but I do love ice cream.
Yeah.
Dark chocolate ice cream. That's my craving. But the interesting thing is that when Anne-Marie stopped, I automatically, like without any problem at all, I just stopped almost. I do have stuff sometimes of like that contains some sugar in it, because I'm not so.
Well, you don't have the problem that I do.
Exactly, yeah. No, but still, and since we don't even have sugar at home. No. There is no sugar. I use a little bit of honey if I drink tea, and coffee I don't have sugar in, and we don't use sugar in food or anything, so we don't even have it at home. But if I do get something or eat something that has sugar in it, I too now can feel like that from the rush of the sugar, and I can even taste like the refined sugar taste, which I find is really scary. I mean, you can feel that, but this is definitely not good for you, and so this is also a thing that I think a lot of people could probably start looking at, because it's definitely not good for you.
No.
You can at least try and scale down on the intake of sugar, that's for sure. Don't have it in food, and because it's in everything. And if you buy, like, back to eating and like food and stuff, not only candy, but if you buy like ready-made food, in stores, in these boxes and stuff, that's usually packed with sugar and stuff in it, compared to if you buy the ingredients yourself and make the food, because then of course that there is no sugar in it. So these are also like conscious decisions you can make and try to stay away from the ready-made stuff.
And if you need support and help to quit sugar, I'm here for you. I can guide you and let you know what you can do, because it was not easy. And nowadays, I think I've seen like a lot of books and people are actually coming forward and talking about it. And I know that there's actually a sugar addiction place that you can go to now in Sweden. Like you can have that. What's that? Like you can have it, get it from the doctor to actually come into to a place and they will help you. But if you want help and guidance, I'm here for you, and I can actually let you know what you can do in order to quit. But it's not easy, and you have to be determined. And I think it took my was it the second or the third time that I actually managed
to quit it?
Yeah. So I see here, Dimitra says, I need to quit sugar. Yeah, if you feel that, let me know. I can help you out if you need some support. So, because it made such a huge difference in my life. And I've actually realized, I know that some people can quit and maybe have some, but for me, I know it's so deep rooted in me that it's all or nothing. And because I have this addiction personality, so
yeah, and like I said, I mean, I didn't even think about it before, but since we don't have sugar at home and we don't eat it at all, and then when you do get something with sugar in, when you can feel the rush in your body and you can feel the taste of it and everything, that's really scary. And also, we should mention though, because another thing is that a lot of people then buy like Diet Cokes or whatever it is with sweeteners in them. Aspartame, I think, is the biggest, most popular one, and those things are even worse. So don't try to think that the solution is to go, okay, I won't buy Coca-Cola and I'll buy Coke Light or whatever it is, or like Pepsi Light, or I buy some sugar, like candy with no sugar in it, and it's with aspartame instead. I would say keep on eating sugar then, because you can Google aspartame and see what it says about it on the internet, and that's even worse, So I never believed in like substituting anything like with something that's totally chemical. But what I guess you could start just staying away from the white sugar, the processed sugar, and go more for like the raw sugar and use honey and what else are they? I mean, like when you made these raw food cakes.
Yeah, I make a lot of raw food cakes because
then you use dates and stuff like that to get the sugar taste, sort of.
And it's in a way, if you're invited to dinner at someone's house, I sometimes bring like raw food cake or some raw food balls or something to give to everyone, because it's my way of like saying thank you for being invited. And it's also so that people don't, if they're desserts, I can actually have something to eat, and people will not look at it, it's so bad that you won't eat the dessert because it's full of sugar. So it's a good way of just giving back. Yeah. So yeah. The more we just start to
wine. What about the, oh yeah, there's sugar in wine. Yeah, you can look at that. Also, actually, we started to do that when we buy wine. We buy wine because at least in Sweden, it says how much sugar it is in it. So we make sure that we buy the ones that have as little sugar as possible in them, and also try and buy
eco.
Then there's this, I can't remember what it's called. There's a new kind of wine that's supposed to be free from all kinds of stuff in it and chemicals, but it's really hard to find here in Sweden anyway.
Yeah,
but yeah, of course you can look at that as well, and of course it's not good to drink a lot, but we're gonna have another video about these things.
Yeah,
so we're not going to talk about addictions all this video, but we wanted to talk about sugar, and we wanted to talk about what you put inside of yourself and when you eat. So yeah, be just conscious about what you are eating and what it does to your body and what it does to the world, to nature and everything. You know, what's the impact of it, and be just, you know, kind of aware of it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's super important.
Yeah. Anything else? Well, maybe this is it for today.
Yeah.
We, as we said before, this is our little video kind of series that we decided to do, and where we talk about how we live our conscious life and make decisions about
and something that I want to say that next Wednesday we're going to do a webinar that's going to teach you how you can be more conscious as an entrepreneur, and we're going to give you a proven system on how to attract the right kind of clients to your company. So if you want to join, we haven't had everything set up yet, but if you want to join that, please send us a private message, and we will give you a link so you can sign up and join us, and that will be on Wednesday at 9 o'clock Swedish time. So then
it's the same as for today. I think it was, this is confusing. Time zones.
We just
it's the same time as we broadcast this stuff today, so I think it's like 12 and Pacific time, right? And then
just send us
look
a
at
message,
what we wrote in,
and we will let you know the correct.
And this webinar is going to be free, by the way. So
but it's an awesome teaching that we're working on, and we're super excited to share it with you guys.
Okay.
So we want to say thank you for joining us today, and have a great week. And
so see you at the webinar. Hopefully. Okay.